Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Lionel, and I'm your host for LT Productions. You are watching I Watch You Watch. We are covering Love and Marriage Huntsville. This is season 10, episode 6. I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Like this video in support of me, and you can subscribe and leave your comments below. Not much was happening on this episode. However, I was entertained during parts of the episode. So let's get into it. All right. So we start off with Miss Nell. She's going to visit Lance. She knew that Lance didn't have anything for her as far as being a host, a charcuterie board or whatever, and she brought things over. I don't know why she complained about it if she already knew what was going on, but hey, whatever. She also took notice to Lance's landscaping deficiency around his home. So they kind of just, I don't want to say catch up, but she wanted to check on him to see how he was doing. And what's going on is that Lance did have a baby that we already know, and how he's telling the story is like he's a single black mom who works two jobs. I'm trying to think of the song, but anyways, he's Reba McEntire. I'm a survivor. You know, that's, yeah. So it's like, okay. Anyways, Ms. Nell wants to know how can she help him despite what's happening to him. Well, he says, you know how the baby is. He's up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, welcome to what women have to do on a daily, whether you are there or not. And it's cool that you're stepping up and doing that. I don't think that you get an award because women don't get an award for that. And that's the best that I can say it. You know, I'm glad you're there. That's about it. So Nell started offering herself up. She was like, well, why don't I just take the baby a couple of nights during the week? And he said, well, he's gotten her, and he said her, so I guess it's a girl, gotten her used to this environment and all that. He doesn't want to really move her. She's just used to him and all that. Well, she said, well, why don't I just come over and stay a couple of nights during the week? He said that he would be cool with that. However, you need to run that over with Dad, Chris. And she was like, no, I don't need to do that. We've been married for 30 years now. And we cool. I was like, oh. So a married man, a married spouse is okay with you randomly now wanting to not be at home 2 nights a week. That is something you should run over. I don't know if Nell gets a pass for certain things, possibly because of how Chris has treated her over the years. I don't know. But it's just like, I mean, run it over, because I don't think that Chris would have the same privilege as you are now portraying that you have with your 30-year marriage if he said that. So that was a little bit odd. They talk about Destiny. She complains about how Destiny comes complaining to her about why didn't she tell her about the baby. Nell says that she does not owe Destiny anything. Oh, that's a little bit of a stretch, no, because anything else you want to run back to anybody about, but as soon as it's about your children, you ain't got nothing to say. And that's just a little bit hypocritical at how you can be about certain things. Cool if you want to protect your babies, but at the same time, it's like, don't run out in these streets being not a sounding board, but being a bullhorn about other people's mess, and then also checking them about stuff. Sorry. I think maybe you didn't owe her. It would have been nice if you said something, because, hey, you know I'm pursuing your son. We got something going on. So Lance said, well, we were casually dating. You set the boundaries, da 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 da, when she said it on the during the reunion, while your baby mama was pushing out your baby. So this whole thing, because Nell brought up, well, she was flirting with one of the cousins, because that's what they were brought up last year. At this point, anything that Destiny has done is null and void. This dude made a baby while casually dating Destiny. Stop it. But for some reason, and I feel this way, it's like men can do what they want to do and women can't. Anyways, we're done with them. Tisha, she invites Kimmy and Destiny to go shopping with her. I guess Kimmy didn't know what was going to happen in this scene, so she's asking what's going on. She said, I just needed some retail therapy. She's like, oh. And she's like, I'm not buying a thing. Whether she didn't have the money or this isn't her store to try to buy something in, Kimmy wasn't buying anything. Destiny shows up 4 to 5 episodes later. They ask, where you been? You've been missing, da 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 da. At least for the last event or for Kimmy's dinner, she said that she was doing a TikTok live. And that's how they make the money these days. So she chose money over being a part of the group. But Kimmy said, I do think that we need to do a lot more group things together, da 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 da. They get on the subject of Lance and all that. Did she say? Yeah, she said in this scene, Lance and her have not had a conversation as of yet. She's run into Lance in regards to this whole baby thing, and he couldn't even look her in the eye. He avoided her at all costs. He could be embarrassed and probably don't know what to say. I don't know. But everybody just acting like Destiny doesn't need to know anything, which is a little bit strange to me. They talk about, Destiny brings up Martell. But before we get there, Destiny, absolutely not. Y'all, Destiny, I think you want to be this fashion forward person or whatever, but you flop every time. Flop every time. Don't wear that. Don't wear that pink thing that you had with your hands right here. Da, da, da. No. I'll say A for trying to put forth effort. An F for the launching. Anyways, so once Destiny mentions Martell, Tisha said that's my cue and she's gonna go over shopping. And Destiny was like, well, is this how we're gonna be every time he's mentioned or somebody that you don't like in the group is mentioned? And Kimmy said, probably, yeah. So she was like, look, I have this problem of I wouldn't know you guys without him. And on my end, I do what I can to hold him accountable and all that good stuff. I think at Destiny, you're going to have to understand, like you wanted other people to understand, about this whole Sonny and Moses situation. Hopefully you're listening and not trying to be defensive. Yeah. So now I never wanted Sonny and Moses on the show, but I think that was kind of there was 2 hottest storylines last season. This and also what Tish had going on with Martell. So anyways, she could just talk about, look, all I can do is just hold Martell accountable for when he does dumb stuff. He came by just the other day saying something dumb about how he's trying to build this future with Ariane, but I think that at least Destiny should know. I don't know why she don't know. Knows the boundaries that these people have up. So she's in the middle and she plans to respect people. We shall see. Trisha and Nell, they hang out. It looks like Trisha and Nell are going to be probably buddy. But I think Trisha's going to be kind of, I guess you could say in the middle, wanted to be friends with them, and then also Nell, and then also hopefully she don't play them against each other and all that stuff. I don't know. But anyways, Trisha's like, they wanted to talk about how Tisha's attitude was during her party. And Nell just feels like Tisha got all this big D energy, and Destiny was wrong for walking up on Chris. I agree with that. I still enjoy drunk Tisha, but I definitely understand, like, don't do all that, because a fight could have really happened for you, Tisha, with all that mess. You can use the excuse, well, she said for me to go ask him. There's still a way to still ask him at the same point. And he wasn't going to tell you anything anyway. He already says that he doesn't report to you, so leave it alone. Let's see. Trisha said, hopefully there's a way that you guys can get together and to work this all out. That's rich coming from you, Trisha, when you got your own baby daddy situation where y'all really can't be in the same room with each other. Next up, Kimmy has this conversation with Jalen. Jalen is not going to Colorado. He was able to negotiate with someone, whomever he's trying to get a job from, here in Huntsville, and he was able to get more money, and now he's staying. Me personally, I wish he would have left. Break free. Break free. Really, the only person that's in your corner is Kimmy. Maurice will say he is, and he probably is to a certain extent, but at the same point, all you got is your mama. And maybe you still wanted to stay around with her, but it would have been cool to discover another part of the world and something where you don't have to be in this type of atmosphere. That's just my opinion or whatever. And of course, he gave his discourse on when he met with Maurice and Marceau. He said, Marceau gets how he feels, but Maurice still doesn't. And how he likes to talk and not really, he likes to deflect and all that. And then Kimmy says, well, he does that to me too. And you married him. And you stay married to him. I don't know, the deal breaker is, if I have a child, we're a package deal, you're going to treat both of us right. You had to tell him about himself and he's still not correct himself, and it takes him umpteenth years maybe to finally listen here, who knows. I just want to know why Kimmy stays and is staying. I mean, you're the one that had to get an emotional support dog. And technically you were still newlyweds, and you need an emotionally supportive dog. Chris and Lance. Lance comes by Chris and just talks about, things with this baby situation. And he also talks about what Nell has proposed for him to do. Chris isn't for it. Chris is at this point trying to hold his end of the bargain with his wife about setting up boundaries. If y'all keep running to us, how are y'all going to fly? It's like, cool. On the flip side, it's kind of like, I don't think Lance is that, I don't know. You know what Lance has done and what he needed from you guys and what y'all gave him, so whatever. I understand the boundary. It would be good to just help him pick up the slack a little bit, and he just needs that so that he could be fresh for his job. I don't see anything wrong with it, but at the same time, if the family rules now, boundaries, then we got to honor that. And Chris is sticking to it. Nell, on the other hand, I'm sure there's going to be an argument about that. All right, so the last scene was basically Nell and Tisha, and it was a bunch of nothing and a bunch of deflecting and lying from Tisha. However, I was entertained by the back and forth. I probably won't be entertained if it's the same thing, if it's 3 episodes down, but we're still early in the season and I'm not irritated as of yet. Yeah, so Tisha ended up getting up and walking because Nell was not about to bend over for her. And that's just done on that. Again, I did enjoy certain parts, but not much was going on. But you can give me your thoughts on what you felt during these scenes. But that's all I have, y'all. It looks like next week might be a little bit better, so we shall see. Like this video, subscribe, and share, and leave your comments below. Until the next one, peace.